Core movement exercises. So we're going to take a look at some different exercises that you can do utilizing your body weight where we're actually moving and engaging our core muscles. So engaging the front, the sides, the low back, the glutes, the hips. We're going to start in our first progression, which is seated. We're going to simply have your students start with the pelvic tuck. Now you can have them place their hand on their belly so that they have a little more association with where they should be feeling this. And what they're going to do is they're just going to pull their belly in, tighten their abdominals, do an exhale, tuck, and then come back to neutral. So again, we want fluid breath, but if you can get them to exhale, it will help with that abdominal contraction. So we're going to have them tuck and then come back to neutral. Once they're solid with the pelvic tuck, we can add in a little challenge. So with their hands by the side, have your students tuck, create tension in the abdominals, and then we're gently going to have them lift one leg just a little bit off the ground. So it's just going to be a really tiny lift, and we're going to have them keep that tuck, keep that tension, and then release down. We can do that with the other side. So they're going to create that tension, they're going to lift one foot up, and that should increase the sensation, increase the contraction of the abdominals, and release down. Progressing, we can have them take their hands up, and we're going to do a pelvic tuck, and we can just have them tap the knee and relax. Tap the knee and relax. What's important is we don't want them crunching forward on this one, because we need to come back to what are we trying to achieve with our students. And a lot of our students are here all day. We want to get them upright. So we want to really focus on this, the lower area, keeping the length in the spine, and then contracting the abdominals with this openness in the chest area. Now you can also add a little rotation in. So you can have your students rotate, tuck, and tap. Rotate, tuck, and tap so that they're working a little more into the obliques. We have a lateral flexion, and this is very, very similar to our side stretch. So one side is going to stretch, and the opposite side is going to contract. So your students are nice and tall, and they're going to contract and stretch, and then come up. Again, very, very small motion in the chair. We can also do a version of opposite arm and leg in the chair. So this will get their glutes activated and get a little opposition work in. If this is too much for your seated students, you can just simply activate the glutes by having them tighten their bottom and release. Just basically tighten those buns and release. If not, they're going to come into a similar position for the hip flexor stretch. So they're going to angle on their chair, drop back. We're going to have them squeeze their glute, and then if they're comfortable, raise the opposite arm up and then relax. So squeezing the glute, raising the opposite arm up, and they're going to reach up to where it's comfortable for their shoulder joint and relax. Now moving on to our light supported position, your students are going to come up. They're going to come to the side of their chair, and we can do all of those same movements. So we have standing pelvic tucks. We have the lateral flexion. And we can even add in a little knee with this. So like we did in the chair, we can have them tuck, tap their knee, and relax, or we can add the rotation in with the opposite leg, tuck, tap, and rotate. So it could turn into a nice little combo for your students. Crunch, rotate, and crunch. Again, notice our upper bodies are staying up with the chest open. Now we're going to move to the back of the chair for opposite arm and opposite leg. So coming to the back of the chair, your students are going to have light support. They're going to take one leg back, and they're going to activate their glutes. So what you want to do is cue them to tighten their bottom. And then slowly, with control, they're going to take their opposite arm and reach. Maybe it's just a little bit off the chair. Maybe they're able to reach up. Whatever their range of motion is, they're going to hold and then release. Doing it on the opposite side. So squeezing the glute, reaching and holding, and release. You'd want to repeat that whole series on the opposite side of the chair so that you get that tuck and that rotation on the opposite side. For your freestanding students coming up, we can again do standing pelvic tucks, or we can do that knee tap. So thinking more from the bottom up, exhale, taking the knees in, adding in the rotation, so maybe widening the stance a little bit, rotating and squeezing, getting in that standing lateral flexion, or balancing that opposite arm and leg. So activating the glute, pulling the belly in, reaching the opposite arm out, and for the more advanced students, maybe lifting that leg off of the ground and releasing down. We'll try that on the opposite side. So starting with the toe on the ground, opposite arm reach, engaging the glutes, squeezing the glute, then maybe a slight lift off, holding, and releasing. So those are some examples of core movement exercises that you can incorporate into your circuit exercises.